Hey, good morning, YouTube. Uh, it's 5:57 a.m. October 20th, 2012, and I just been up a while, drinking coffee and trying to get woke up. Well, actually, I've been up a long time because I've been having a hard time sleeping because of back problems. But that's beside the point. That's like a everyday thing for me. Uh, so I'm getting kind of immune to it. You can't take enough Advil, ibuprofen to ease it up. I really need to have something done to it, but I'm not. With all the problems in the hospitals and the meningitis outbreak with the shots and all that, I've never had the shots in the back. So anyway, I got 3 herniated discs, and I got some other problems back there, but I have a lot of problems out of it. But anyway, that's not what I really wanted to talk about. I want to talk about hard work, what we did as kids, and I know the older generation before me even worked a lot harder than I did, but you know, a lot of kids today don't have to do anything, and they don't know what it is to work. I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them. And but when I was a kid, we had to work. I mean, 7 years old, we were working. My dad was when I was young, he was a brick mason. And in the summer and on Saturdays, we'd go out and mix up mud with a hoe and in a big mud pan, 3 bags at a time. The big hoe about that wide with 3 holes in it. Didn't have a mixer, and carry brick, and that's how I learned to do what I did. And then I didn't take it up till later in life when I started. But a discussion came up the other day out there. We were talking with some friends about working in tobacco. We did that too. And I don't know if any of y'all, I'm sure some of you have worked in tobacco. Uh, but from probably the age 8 or 9 up, we raised tobacco for about 7 or 8 years, and like 4 acres, which isn't big, but for a small family, it's a lot. And then, back then, you could count on other family members, cousins, uncles. Well, they did the same thing, so we switched out work. We'd work for them, they'd work for us to trade out. And the money wasn't that good. It really never did pay off that well, like it should, for the harder work as it was. But I remember going out there and it was 95 degrees, and take a hoe out there and hoe hoe an acre of tobacco out between the plants, all the weeds. And now they hardly ever do that. They just spray weed killer. And then sweat bees would be biting you, and mosquitoes, and it's hot, and then on we used to have to top it, and just go through there and top it, take the top out of it, make it spread out more, get it ready to cut later on. And setting it out was pulling the plants. You start out, you get your backer beds ready. We call it backer here. So you get your backer beds ready, and then you seed them, and then when they come up, you take the tops off of them, and you go through there and usually take something and crap the top of them, like a mower raised up on wheels. We did that. And then we'd pull plants, put them in 5-gallon buckets or in boxes, and take them straight down to the ground where it had been worked up. And you had a tobacco setter. It had 2 people sitting on one on each side, and you fed this little wheels that came around. And in the front of your tractor, you had a 50-gallon drum full of water, and it fed a spit of water in every one of those plant holes. So if you missed one, you had to go back and reset it later. Take a peg and peg it ground. Piece of wood shaped like an L, and peg your tobacco and pack the dirt back around it. Put a little water in it. Or And then came resetting, and that's when your plants, the ones that didn't make it, they die or whatever, and you'd go back and take a peg and reset them, and sometimes you'd have 200-300 plants that didn't make it. Sometimes it'd just be 10 or 15. It's according what hit it, but those were good old days, though. I mean, the work was hard. I remember me and my brother worked all year in tobacco, and my dad would say, well, you guys can have all the leaves. You just follow behind the wagon, pick up the extra leaves when we cut it, and whatever's left over, and pack it on a basket, and when that, we take that into the market and sell that. That's your pay for the year. We might get $25 a piece. That was big money, you know, for us. So I'm not trying to sound like I'm old here, but I'm just telling the facts about poor living, you know. And you know, we had it rough, kind of rough, but we always made it. And always had food to eat, and there was times there it looked bad, you know. But I always hated cutting tobacco worse than anything. Oh my gosh, I hated it. And I actually hated all of it, really, but I kind of liked working it off. You know, you'd cut it and stick it out stick it out for a couple days till it wilted down, and then haul it in on a wagon on sticks. Cut it, spud it, put it on sticks, stand it up, go back through in a couple days, pick it back up on the wagon, take it into the barn and hang it. That's another rough job. Then you let it cure out, you know, a month or whatever. Then you start taking it down and bundling it up. And if it's not encased, it's got to be encased, which if it rains, it gets damp feeling. You get it encased. That means it's called getting it encased, and then take it down and pile it up in piles, cover it up in plastic so it wouldn't lose that moisture, and then you'd go out there, 3 people, and start working it off. You'd set a stack on the end of a table. There'd be 3 people if you put it in 3 grades. The first man pulled the bottom, the lugs, hand the stalk to the next man. He pulled the middles, which I forget what they called it, and then the ends were tips. Third man get the tips, and you'd get a bundle about that big around of leaves, and take a pretty leaf, the prettiest one you could find, and wrap that thing around there real tight and tuck it under, and tie a hand of tobacco. Pile them up in a pile. Then when you got a huge pile, 3 piles of hands, you packed them on baskets. That's before they started baling tobacco, you know. And you could, yeah, I'm sure you know what tobacco baskets are. I forget, they're 4.5 or whatever wide by 4.5, and they're weaved like a basket, and they kind of turn up. They're about that thick, you know, the baskets. Why? You get down there and you let your hands stick out where you tied them all the way around that basket. Put your knees on that basket, pack some inside, keep it all level, and go back around again, around and around. You'd be on top of that with your knees till that basket got up here, you know. You might have 500-600 pounds of tobacco on that basket. Best I can remember. Then you load it all on the tractor and take it into the market to sell. And, you know, they weigh it and set it on the floor, and when the tobacco sold, you got your check. And they got their part, you got your part. And of course, if you were raising someone else's tobacco, they put all the money into like the seeding and the sprays, if there was any, and you know, because they furnished the land, and they didn't have to do any of the work, but they got half the money, you know. The one that did the work got the shaft, because the one that raised it, because they did all the work. And if you owned your own property and raised your own tobacco and had your own tobacco allotment that they allowed you to have, then you made more money. But I just wanted to share that story, and I'm sure if any of you guys lived in the South or whatever, you've worked in tobacco and know what it's like. But it was an art, tying those hands. And I know tobacco, I smoke, but they're bad for you and everything. But tobacco straight out of the ground is just like marijuana to me, or anything that grows. If it's okay right straight out of the ground, it's all the chemicals they put in it that makes it bad. That's why I'm not pro drug or nothing, but I've thought marijuana should be legal, because you grow it and you pull it and you cure it and they smoke it and use it, and there's no prescription chemicals in it like prescription medicine and stuff that can harm you. That's my opinion. So that's why there's so many people in jail that should be out, because of little crappy laws like marijuana laws, which is stupid. And then they've got a jail overcrowding, and let them guys go home. They smoked a little pot or grew a little pot for themselves, and I don't do it no more. I did it years ago, but I'm just saying, if somebody wants to do that, to me it's not as bad as drinking or a prescription medicine. They got this prescription medicine problem because the doctors and everybody else, the drug companies, are making a fortune, and they're killing people with it. So marijuana never killed anybody. Tobacco has, because it hurts you because of the chemicals. But anything, like I said, that can grow wild out of the ground or whatever, or plants, it's just like your vegetables. And if you don't put any sprays on it and stuff, it's probably the best thing in the world for you, all natural. But I just want to share that story with you about tobacco. And we did that with the brick, and then, I started working when I was a kid. I was push mowing the yard at 7 years old. A big yard. We learned how to work. And then my mom was from overseas, so I remember when I was 10 or 11, she went back home to England, to London, to stay a month to visit. And my dad worked, and then there was me and my sister and one of my other brothers there. And my brother had a part-time job. And I cooked dinner at 10, 11 years old every night for a month. Kept the house clean. Went to school. That's why I say, kids, you kids out there that are young, I'm telling you, the more you can stay off your butt and be outside doing things, the better off you are. And I'm a good one to talk, because I'm sitting here making a video, but I stay on the internet a lot. But I'm older now, I've been through all that stuff too. And I'm not saying I've had it worse than anybody else. I haven't. I've had it pretty good. But I did learn to work at an early age, and I worked hard all my life. So I just wanted to share that tobacco story. And if you did any of that as a kid or whatever, put me a comment down below and let me know what you think. And I probably missed some stuff because it's so early morning, and I've had too much coffee or not enough. I don't know which, but just a video about, I just wanted to talk about that. And I hope everybody has a great Saturday, and enjoy it and live it up. It looks like winter's coming, and the leaves are turning, and I hope the wind blows all mine over in the neighbor's yard. Have a good weekend, everybody. See you.